love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
Hello and welcome. If you're starting out on live streaming or live video, then Step Up to Live is the show for you. Want to know the key to successful selling on LinkedIn? Let's find out. I'm Alec Dorling, and I'm here to share with you my challenges and experiences as I progress on a journey from ground zero to live streaming hero. With the aid of my mentors, a coach, a plan, and a few magical objects, I hope to overcome these challenges and reach the end game. In this week, we're here to look at what it takes to successfully sell on LinkedIn, and who better to give us some insights than Niraj Kapoor. Niraj, welcome to the show.
Alec, thank you so much for having me on your show.
Right. Niraj is an international speaker, a trusted sales coach, and the author of 2 books, Everybody Works in Sales and The Easy Guide to Sales for Business Owners. In 2021, last year, LinkedIn awarded 10 people the title of Top Voice in Sales, and Niraj was honored to be one of them. So no better than Niraj to help us with the topic today. Niraj, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your LinkedIn journey.
Well, my LinkedIn journey, like many people, I had a LinkedIn profile, Alec, but I didn't really do much with it. And anytime I did post, it was always something very banal and very boring, like a press release, or a change of personnel at my company, stuff that really isn't of interest to anybody. And it wasn't really until after 23 years working in London as a coach and working in sales and training sales teams that I finally set up my own business. And that's when I really had to start using LinkedIn. And it took me quite a while. I only had about 500 followers, not very many. And then a year later, it had 1,000, and then 2,000, and then 5,000. But 2021 was a big one. I went up to 19,000 followers, and now I've got 20,000 followers. So it's grown very, very quickly for me, especially in the last 12 months. I've really understood how to use LinkedIn, how to work LinkedIn, but more importantly, how to build relationships and do business on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So are those, you say 20,000 followers, but how many of those are actual connections on LinkedIn?
Oh, well, almost all of them are connected to me. I only started doing followers since last October, so I left it quite late because I like people to send me personalized invites, and I like to build relationships that way. But I would say of the 20,000 people, only about 200 to 300 speak to me every single month, which I still find amazing when you consider the numbers. I would say maybe 1,000 will look at my posts and comment once or twice a year. And the other 18,000, 19,000, I couldn't tell you what they do because they're known as lurkers. They're people who look at your profile, but sometimes I'll find out a year later, they'll contact me and go, oh, by the way, I've been following you for a year. I like your content. Can you deliver some LinkedIn training to us? I'm like, really? You've been following me for a year and this is the first time you've spoken to me? So yeah, I find that quite interesting about LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I know you're a very busy man. It's taken me, I think, 3 months to get you to come on the show. So what does a typical month look like for you? I think it's quite varied and traveling all the time. So tell us a little bit what a typical month looks like for you.
Certainly. Well, the reason I've said no to you and to everybody is because January, February, and March are my busiest times of year. So what my typical month is, in the mornings, I'm always delivering coaching. So that will often be one-to-one coaching, which involves mindset work, confidence work, sales work, or LinkedIn. And I do that every day until lunchtime. Then I go for a walk. I don't look at my phone. I go for a walk to clear my head for half an hour. And then I come back in the afternoon and I return phone calls. I listen to podcasts. I do reading, thinking, planning, take the dog for a walk, have dinner with my parents, and then in the evening, I go back to work again. And I tend to do that. That's usually my routine. And then twice a month, I will fly to London or fly to Europe on business and go see my clients face to face, do all day training in London or Manchester or Leicester or Birmingham or Scotland, depending where I have to go. And there's no doubt, Alec, that traveling face to face is really quite wonderful. And you have a different energy and a different feeling whenever you coach face to face. You really do.
Yeah, and it's culturally different in different countries, and you actually learn a lot. I was interested when you say I fly to London and I fly to Europe. I'm from the UK, and since Brexit, it's now Britain and Europe again, and that really saddens me a little bit. I'm a true European and British as well.
I spent
So
5 years traveling across Europe, so
yeah,
Brexit did break my heart because a
yeah,
lot of people were missold on what
yeah,
it
I know,
was. So that's a different kind of conversation that we can spend hours discussing.
yeah. Anyway, on to the topic. Learning and implementing are major keys to success in sales and business. But what's your take on what sales is all about? What's sales to you?
Sales has changed over the years. And right now, 2022 in the modern world, sales is helping your customers win. Sales is helping your customers get results. Sales is helping understand other people and providing the right solution. Notice at no stage have I said sales is about you winning. No, no. It's about helping the other person win, helping the other person get results. It's about knowing when to walk away from somebody if they're not the right customer. And it's about helping guide people in the right direction if they're not a customer as well. And that's very important as well. Not a lot of people do that in sales.
Yeah. So how has selling really changed over recent years? Do you favor sort of direct selling or social selling approaches? Which do you prefer, and which are you doing predominantly?
I prefer social and I do social. I think the old school of selling was a bit very direct and it was all about getting the deal. And don't get me wrong, sales is the foundation of your business. It's very important. It's how you grow. And I'm a big fan of selling. I encourage people to sell.
Yeah,
At the same time, the old school manipulative way of selling, it's so 1990s and needs to stop immediately. Sending people 15, 20 sales messages in the space of a few weeks is deeply inappropriate, yet so many companies do that. They believe you should reach as many people as possible, which of course is the wrong way to do things. Social selling is better because you're connecting with them and communicating with them and engaging with them on a social platform or social platforms. And you're communicating with them very regularly. And a lot of the time, it's simply giving value, it's sharing advice. I mean, for
yeah,
every sort of 4 interactions I have with somebody, I'll only sell once out of the 4. The other
yeah,
3 quarters of the time, I'm just giving massive value. And I'm a sales
yeah,
coach. I believe in selling,
yeah. I remember in my old network, it was can you do something for me, and what will you do in return
Yeah.
for me? And I just didn't ever like that approach. It was I just give and give and give, and maybe it's 10 years later, but you're rewarded through providing value and constantly giving information without any hard sell at all. But how exactly do you close more deals yourself? What's involved? What are the steps?
Well, if you're looking at LinkedIn in particularly,
Yeah,
it's
I am. Yeah.
yeah,
We're
it-
talking about LinkedIn.
there's
Yeah.
a process involved. So, for example, when you sell on LinkedIn, what you don't do is connect with somebody and try to sell, which is what most people do, and they do it very badly.
Mm,
And the steps or the process, as I like to call it, is firstly, you send a personalized invite. That is very important. In fact, I'll take it even back a step further. You like and comment on their post first, and then
mm,
you send a personalized invite. And then you like and comment on another post of theirs a day or two later. So you don't sell straight away after they accept your invite. And then by the fourth contact, I will quite often leave a voice note or shoot a video on my phone like this.
Mm.
And I will say to the person I'm interested in, I've been liking and commenting on your posts. I can't sell to you because I have absolutely no idea what you want. In fact, we may not even be the right fit. But if you can tell me the two biggest challenges you're facing, I'll be happy to provide some solutions for you. Now, the reason that works, and I've tried this hundreds of times to try to get the formula right. The reason it works is you're letting them know you've liked and commented on their posts. So you've provided some value already. You've told them I'm not going to sell to you because I don't know what you want, which is very true. You've said, look, we may not even be the right fit. So automatically their defenses are lowered. And then you're saying, what are the two biggest challenges you're facing? And I'll be happy to provide some solutions for you. And that's it. Notice I'm not asking for their email address, which is a big mistake people make. They say, give me your email address, I'll send you some stuff. And the reason they want your email address is to put you into a sales funnel and keep harassing you. But again, people are very comfortable on LinkedIn. So I try to have at least the first few conversations on LinkedIn before I take it onto Zoom or to any other platform.
Yeah,
so there's a process I go through.
So one of the things, I mean, I've heard quite a few things. I mean, we have the LinkedIn police around and YouTube and everything. And if you really do something wrong, then you can, lose your account and then you've lost all your prospects. So usually the recommendation is to try and take people also into an email list, especially if you're selling or on LinkedIn. So what do you think about that and how do you do that?
Well, what I do is once I've had a couple of conversations with them on LinkedIn and built up some kind of trust, then I will say, look, not what is your email address? What I'd like to do is send you some more information that will help you. Why don't we talk about this over Zoom? What's the best address for you? Not what is your email? What's the best address to send you a Zoom invite? And they give you your email. It's like when you say to a client, you don't say, what's your mobile phone number? Which is a big mistake people make. You should say is, what's the best number to contact you on? It's a very, very different way of asking the same question. And the way you ask questions and the way you frame things is very important in sales.
But again, about emails, I understand, like, you can invite on a Zoom, you get their email, but do you have to tell them that they're going to go on an email list? Do you have
always
to
tell people that. I mean, when people go to my website, there's a box that says, by law, by GDPR law, which most people, in all fairness, don't listen to anymore since lockdown. Nobody cares about GDPR. They should, but they don't. But you should have a box saying you will put somebody in their list. But I think it's wrong to put somebody in a marketing or email list without their consent, especially if you're emailing them more than once a week, which you shouldn't really be doing anyway. But again, a lot of people do that.
So the overall approach is really value first and selling second through social selling techniques.
100%.
Always giving value first.
100%. I call relationships first, selling second. But yes, absolutely.
What about recommendations? I don't use recommendations. I mean, in my field, in my niche field, I'm well known. I don't feel I have to put recommendations, but what do you feel about recommendations? Do they have any real effect? Should you do it? And how do you approach getting testimonials?
If everybody in your field knows you, you don't need recommendations or testimonials. But for most people, that's not the case. And so testimonials, LinkedIn recommendations or testimonials, call them what you like, they're known as LinkedIn recommendations. They have a profound impact on your business. I've had to pitch for quite a few deals in the last 12 months. And I've won a lot of them for a variety of reasons. I always ask when I win a deal, why did I win? And when I lose a deal, I also ask, what could I have done better? And when I win deals, I always get two answers that are very common. The first is, Neeraj, You sound like a human being who cares, not some typical corporate salesperson or LinkedIn person. And the second reason is you've got 50 testimonials, the other person had 5. Now I've got 78 testimonials. My competitors only have 20. It's a big difference. It's like going on to Google reviews or Amazon reviews. You see 2 products. One's got 80 reviews, one only has 20. Which one are you going to choose? Most people will choose the one with 80 reviews. That's how people think. So that's why recommendations are very important. But again, it's how you ask for a recommendation is very important. And getting referrals is very important. And not enough people leverage that, Alec.
Yeah. You say how people react to recommendations, but if I saw somebody with 80 recommendations, I would be thinking, why have they got 80 recommendations? What have they done? Have they used people they know? Are they real? So again, I guess there's a good balance between numbers of recommendations and the quality and who they are. So
Well, I do understand that on TripAdvisor and Google, a lot of people can make names up. A lot of them
yeah,
can be your friends. I totally understand that. On LinkedIn, it's different. The nice thing about LinkedIn is when someone gives you a recommendation, you click on it and you can see their profile and know
yeah,
that they're a
yeah.
real person. And also, you can tell if they know you or not because you can see if they've worked at previous jobs that you have. Mine always say client. Maybe 1 or 2, I think, have said work many years ago, but majority of mine say client. And that's the key thing. And they're all different as well. Not every recommendation is the same.
Yeah. So I guess we talk about LinkedIn. We're talking about selling on LinkedIn, but how do you make yourself stand out on LinkedIn? And what role does LinkedIn Live or video play in the overall selling approach, in your opinion?
My advice to everybody is to stand out as much as you possibly can. So in January 2021, I made a decision, okay, I'm going to stand out as much as I possibly can. I looked at what my competitors were doing, and I pretty much did the complete opposite. And that's very important. So all my competitors went this direction. I went this direction. I stood
Mm.
out. I got recognized. I got the work. They're all fighting for the same bit of business. Most coaches in my industry, believe it or not, whatever they say, wherever they brag, most often don't earn that much money. They don't. And they all compete for the same piece of business. I didn't want to be part of that. I wanted to go bigger. So I started doing things that they weren't doing, which was doing more original content, doing more video, talking about my charity work, and telling more personal stories, doing all the
Mm.
things they were not doing. So standing out is very, very important. And the second thing is in terms of video, you mentioned video is key. You don't get many views when you promote videos on LinkedIn. You just don't. But what you get is authority. And most
Okay.
of my business inquiries for work, for LinkedIn training, mentoring, coaching, it all comes from video and it comes from personal posts. That has been pretty consistent now over the last year.
So as well as authority, is consistency also a key factor as well?
Oh, it's huge. I did video for almost 14 months in a row every Monday without fail. Doesn't matter what kind of mood I was in, doesn't matter what was happening with my business. I did a video a video a week every Monday for almost 14 months. And I stopped it a few months ago because I was exhausted. And now I've started repurposing that content. So my videos from a year ago, I've started releasing again because I've got a bigger audience and a different audience now.
Mm.
And most people don't seem to notice. So
You mentioned you mentioned storytelling. So how key is storytelling and using things like story brand towards selling? Do you consciously set a scene with a story, or do you just go from the hip?
I'm a big believer that if you want to get better at anything in life, you hire coaches. So I've hired coaches that will work with me on storytelling over the years.
Mhm.
Plus, I'm an international speaker and I have to speak at many events. And when you go to events, you can't just simply give stats and facts. It's boring. You have to tell stories. You have to take people on a journey. And it's one of these things, I've done it for so many years now. I don't even think twice about telling a story. It just happens automatically. And I think that's very important.
Yeah.
And
I
those of
think
you who have that experience, you got to practice it and practice it.
yeah, it comes naturally after a while, but I really think it's useful to do the research and read the relevant reference sources and books about storytelling. I've done it, in this journey on Step Up to Live. I put myself in a hero's journey about live streaming, and in the end, I will tell the story about all the enemies I faced, all the challenges, the coaches, as you said, the mentors, and a few magical things along the way. So I think it's really interesting. But there is an art to telling a story. There is a template, and I think those people who are trying to sell in whichever way should always, have a foundation of storytelling. So that's really great. Um, how do you actually open up a sales conversation when you have um, engagement? How do you start up a sales conversation? What's the buyer's journey?
The most important thing is the first step, which most people don't do. And that is make some effort to research the person you're speaking to. And you do two things. You look at their LinkedIn profile. And the second thing is you go to their website, because not everybody has a full detailed LinkedIn profile. So it's always good to check somebody's website. So I'd never spoken to you before. I would have said, Alec, I liked your post on ... or well done your LinkedIn Live, which I saw. In fact, I'd probably say Hala, which I think means hello in Sweden. So there you go. Just to show that I looked at your profile, because again,
Yeah,
it stands out. And that's exactly, and I can guarantee you that 99% of people wouldn't do that. And again, it's about standing out and making yourself memorable. And that's key. That is absolutely key. So the buyer's journey always starts with some research, and then it starts next with a personalized invite. And as soon as you accept my invite, do not sell under any circumstance. Like and comment on more posts, and then leave a voice note or shoot a video before you sell anything at all. And when you do sell, make sure it's got value, and make sure your tone is correct, and make sure you lower the person's defenses and don't ask for their email address too quickly.
yeah. I think these not many people use voice notes on LinkedIn. I mean, they are there to be used, but I know when I have had a voice note, I have clicked it and I think, oh, I've got a voice note. What's this? Great. And that, there's a personal touch there. So I think it makes a difference. And I'm now just starting with a new app, which is Volley, which is asynchronous transmission. That's also very good, getting the personal touch on a continuous basis in a sort of group, family group there. So I really think the voice messages work. Now, most people who are not used to selling in the true sense, and especially consultants and coaches, I think they put themselves down. They don't charge really as much as they're worth. They're just happy if they've got a customer. But
True.
I think people find it difficult to negotiate with a customer, to show their value. So do you have any tips for negotiation with a customer when you're just starting out?
Yeah, certainly. There's two answers to that. When I started, I started off at the cheaper end of the market, because I figured if I give big discounts, people will work with me. And they did. The problem was they weren't great clients. So make sure you know what kind of client you want to attract to your business. I'm now the complete opposite end of the market. I charge massive amounts of money because there's only a certain client I want. I do not want a client that's cheap and wants discounts. I want a client that wants value and growth. So that's the first thing. And in terms of negotiation, a lot of clients do want discounts, and I don't discount. However, by the time we get to that stage, I've already done all my research in their business. I've understood their business needs. I've provided solutions. I have listened. I've recapped. I've gone through the process, which means that not that many ask me for a discount. And when they do, I ask them why. I don't do what people do, which is talk myself out of it. But has there been a change to your circumstances? There hasn't. Okay. And you understood my proposition, okay? All right. So why is it you're asking for a discount for them? And that's really important. You got to slow it down, recap their needs, talk about how you offer solutions to their needs, and ask them why they want a discount, and take it from there. But don't start talking and trying to justify why they're not getting a discount, which again is what most people do.
And is it okay to say no if things don't go properly and walk away if necessary?
Absolutely. There's clients that I work with quite often been recommended for my customers. And they said, look, we just can't afford your services. I said, look, that's absolutely fine. I wish you the very best luck in the future. But, I teach my clients not to discount. So if I give you the 60% discount you're looking for, I'm a hypocrite. And also, I know that in the past, I've worked for 60% discount. It's a very unpleasant experience. You don't enjoy the work. You feel taken advantage of. And so you got to walk away from stuff like that. It's very important too.
Yeah. You talked about not discounting, but I work across the world, and some countries, the culture is discounting. And I've done a lot of business in India, and I was asked for discounts all the time. So I got the book, Doing Business in India for Dummies.
Yeah.
And it's as true as anything could be. But you up your price 15% because there is a 15% discount expected, and you will not get your job generally. So discounting is there in certain cultures and countries. So I do think you have to plan for that if you're in those sort of networks. What do you say to that?
Discounted for Dummies in India. Wow. I mean, a great book. I get a lot of inquiries from India every month, but I do very little business with India because most of them actually want it for free. They don't even want discounts. They want it for free.
Yeah.
And I say no immediately. And I get to that stage very quickly. And whenever people from India ask about coaching, I say, just so you know, there's a cost attached to this, and I don't discount, just so there's no misunderstanding before we speak any further.
Yeah, but I have found with India is a very good place for business. If you are an authority, and you talked about when you are an authority, you can command any price in any zone. You don't do things for free. They come to you because you are an authority.
The big corporations do, but one-to-one is very different. So a lot of my work, probably 80% of my work, is one-to-one coaching. And people in a one-to-one coaching level in many parts of the world, whether it's the Middle East, Europe, England, America, no problem. But in India, it's a bit different, and they all want discounts, and I say no. But the corporations, it's different. They actually have the money to hire you.
That's right.
But they do, without a doubt.
So we're talking about books. We talked about doing business in India for dummies, and I can see you have a bookshelf behind you, and
Yes.
we have some common books on there. But you have written 2 books, so yeah, you would recommend those books, and we'll make reference to those at the end of the show. But what's currently top on your reading list? I mean, you got LinkedIn there. Is it sales? Is it culture? Is it social media? What's on the top of your reading list at the moment?
I've gone full circle. I stopped reading sales books in 2021 because I read over 200 sales books. and I wanted to focus on other areas I needed to work on. So I focused very heavily on business books and on mindset and on psychology and copywriting. And that was my focus in 2021. And that helped me grow so much because it's so important when you're doing business to understand marketing and psychology and mindset, EQ, business. These are all vital skills. And in 2022, I started reading sales books again because there's a new wave of sales books coming out now, Alec, which are very good and very different. And they talk about selling from the heart. They talk about selling with love. The book called Selling with Love by Jason Mark Campbell. There's a book called Heart Powered Sales by Robin Treasure. I mean, these are great books. And they have a slightly different approach to your typical sales. It's about the human person, not the strategies, not the techniques, the human being.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Great. So, yeah, we've had a good time on the show, and time's passed very quickly because everything's very, very interesting. So I want to let people know how to contact you. And on the bottom, we have the Facebook, LinkedIn. But I think everybody works in sales.com would be the website to go to.
Sales.com is the best because I've got a recommended reading list there. I've got lots of content there for you. And you can download some sales tips and LinkedIn tips on my website. So that's the best. Or connect with me on LinkedIn. Those are the two best platforms for me.
Great. And we need to bring the show to a close now. I really want to thank you very much for joining on the show. As I say, it's been a long time tracking you down, but I've loved having you on the show. And just to remind viewers that Step Up to Live is every Thursday at 5:10 European time. And we hope you've enjoyed watching the show. We've loved having you here. And from me, Alec, it's goodbye for now. And from Niraj, goodbye from Niraj. Yep.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on your show, Alec.
Yep. And we'll see you soon, everybody.